Every fitness influencer online has a transformation that supposedly happened in 12 weeks. The reality, supported by decades of research and the training histories of the best natural lifters in the world, is very different. And understanding the real timeline is not discouraging. It is the single most important mindset shift for anyone who actually wants to get there. This video covers exactly how fast muscle grows for natural lifters at each stage of experience, what the research says about the upper limit of what is possible naturally, and the two variables that determine whether someone lands at the top or the bottom of that range. By the end, there will be a clear, realistic set of expectations for every stage of the lifting journey and a framework for knowing whether the current approach is actually on track. Here's the number almost nobody in the fitness industry is honest about. For a natural lifter doing most things right, it takes a minimum of 5 to 10 years of consistent hard training to approach their muscular potential. Natural muscle growth follows a predictable curve, and it bends downward over time. In the first 1 to 2 years, the body is highly responsive. Beginners can realistically gain 10 to 20 pounds of lean muscle in their first full year, assuming training is hard, consistent, and protein intake is sufficient. This is the window where the rate of return is highest. After that, the rate of gain roughly cuts in half with each subsequent training block. Someone who gained 15 pounds in year 1 might gain 7 or 8 in year 2, 3 or 4 in year 3, and 1 or 2 per year after that. That is not a flaw, it is how adaptation works. Each additional pound at this stage is a genuine achievement. When looking at the career trajectories of elite natural bodybuilders, a total lifetime gain of 20 to 40 pounds of muscle is a realistic ceiling for most men. For women, roughly half that, 12 to 24 pounds over a full career. Most people land somewhere in the middle of that range. The key insight: the fastest gains do not come when someone starts lifting. They come when someone starts lifting properly. Natural muscle growth is measured in years, not months. The first 1 to 2 years offer the steepest returns. After that, progress slows, but does not stop. Expecting dramatic change in 12 weeks means working with a timeline that does not match the biology. Those timelines assume everything is being done right. For most people, 2 specific variables determine whether they land near the top of their natural potential or spend years spinning their wheels. The first is consistency, not in the motivational sense, but the physiological one. Muscle growth is a 2-step process. Hard training stimulates the growth pathways, and recovery allows the body to repair and come back slightly stronger. The clock on meaningful progress only starts ticking when both steps happen sequentially and regularly over time. The most common reason lifters stall is that they have never accumulated a continuous stretch of properly sequenced training and recovery long enough to see what the process actually produces. Training hard for 3 weeks, missing a week, changing the program, and missing more sessions does not add up to a year of training. It adds up to a few scattered months spread across a year. Those are not the same thing. The second variable is volume and proximity to failure. A large meta-analysis found that up to 25% of the variance in muscle growth can be attributed to training volume alone, and that volume has to be taken close enough to failure to constitute a real stimulus. Sets stopped 8 reps short of failure grow muscle, but sets pushed to within 1 or 2 reps of failure nearly double the growth rate. Most gym goers are training at the former without knowing it. For beginners, 4 to 10 hard sets per muscle group per week produces real, detectable growth. For intermediates, working up toward 15 to 20 sets per week per muscle, spread across at least 2 sessions, unlocks a meaningfully higher rate. Volume should be built progressively over months, not dumped in all at once. The sign the process is working is simple. Strength goes up over time. Consistent lifts that are not progressing at all over weeks are a signal that something needs adjusting. Consistency and sufficient training stimulus are the 2 variables under direct control. Neither requires special genetics or supplements, just showing up and training hard enough, long enough. Here is something rarely said clearly in fitness content. The physique most people are actually after does not require anywhere near the upper end of natural potential, and the path to it is shorter than most people think if expectations are set correctly. Research on muscle growth measures changes in millimeters of thickness or fractions of a kilogram, real, meaningful changes, but not the same as looking dramatically different after 8 weeks. What creates visible change is staying consistent long enough for small gains to compound. 5 pounds of muscle on a lean frame is already noticeable. 10 pounds distributed across the shoulders, arms, chest, and legs changes how clothes fit. 15 to 20 pounds over 3 to 5 years is a genuine transformation. The changes accumulate gradually, which is why progress photos taken months apart reveal more than what is perceived day to day. Two populations move through the early stages faster than average. Beginners with higher body fat can often build muscle and lose fat simultaneously in the first months of training. The stored energy from body fat, combined with the heightened responsiveness of an untrained body, creates a window where both happen at once. It does not last, but it is a real early advantage. Older lifters face the reverse. The body becomes less sensitive to the muscle-building signal from training and protein as it ages, a process called anabolic resistance. Growth does not stop, but the same inputs produce slightly less output. Increasing protein intake by around 20% above the standard recommendation helps compensate. The visual results most people want are achievable within 2 to 4 years of consistent, structured training. Expecting them in 12 weeks, or expecting year 1 gains to continue forever, is where most timelines go wrong. When the real timeline is understood, it changes how a training program should be chosen, and explains why most people's programs are misaligned with the biology from the start. If meaningful muscle growth takes years, the most important variable is not which program is followed in any given month. It is how sustainable that program is across years. A plan maintained consistently for 3 years will outperform an optimal program abandoned after 8 weeks, every time. The training approach has to fit the life being lived. 3 well-structured sessions per week done consistently for years will produce better results than a 5-day program executed sporadically. The best program is the one that actually gets done. Because growth happens slowly, doing less volume during high-stress periods, a busy work stretch, travel, illness causes no meaningful harm as long as training resumes afterward. Research confirms that as little as 4 sets per muscle group per week is enough to maintain muscle mass during periods when maximizing growth is not possible. What damages long-term results is not a reduced month or a 2-week deload. It is the complete abandonment of training. Sleep is the final, underestimated variable. Growth hormone and testosterone are released at their highest concentrations during sleep. 7 to 9 hours per night is not a recovery optimization. It is a prerequisite for training stimulus to convert into muscle tissue at all. Sustainable programming, long-term consistency, and adequate sleep are what separate lifters who reach their potential from those who train for years without getting there. Here is the real timeline for a natural lifter doing things right. Years 1 to 2. 10 to 20 pounds of muscle for men, roughly half that for women. The steepest rate of return. Focus on building the habit and learning to train hard. Years 3 to 5, 3 to 8 pounds per year. This is where the physique becomes visibly transformed compared to the starting point. Volume should be trending upward throughout. Year 5 and beyond, 1 to 2 pounds per year. Total lifetime natural gains land between 20 and 40 pounds for most men, 12 to 24 for most women. Across all of it, show up consistently, train close to failure, build volume over time, sleep enough. That is the formula. It just takes longer than most people are told. Want more fast fitness tips like this? Check out the next video here.